Hey there ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearded Gamer, and today we'll be looking at 5 fairly modern games that have an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam and can be played on low-spec PCs. By fairly modern, I mean games that were released in the last 5 years. I have another video on my channel where I list 11 games for low-spec PCs, but that list is comprised of older classics, so this time we're looking for something more recent. Gunpoint is a 2D puzzle game where you play as a spy who, using a number of tricks, is trying to solve a noir-inspired story of murder and espionage over 20 missions, as the description on Steam puts it. You can use all sorts of methods, such as killing everyone in your way, tricking them into trapping or killing themselves, but there's also the non-violent option where you can just use clever tactics to get through each mission without also becoming a murderer. This means that each mission has multiple ways to be completed, and therefore each player will get a unique experience playing the game. The game was released on the 3rd of June 2013 and has 97% positive reviews out of a total of 7,152. To run Gunpoint, you'll need a 2 GHz CPU, 1 GB of RAM, any GPU with 512 MB of RAM, whether it's shared or dedicated, and 700 MB available on your hard disk. You can get it on Steam for just €7. Two fingers, one mouse. That's all you need to play One Finger Death Punch, and surprisingly enough, it's awesome. You play a guy who stands in the middle of each level, and bad guys attack you from the right or left part of the screen. Clicking the right mouse button attacks towards the right, and the left mouse button attacks towards the left. To get through each level, you'll need to kill the required amount of enemies. Progressing in the game means you'll also pick up power-ups and abilities which will allow you to destroy your enemies with more ease. When you do combos, you'll get special effects on the screen that will make you want to go outside and actually kick people's ass for no good reason. Although one might argue there's always a reason, but let's not get into that. The music suits the game perfectly, and in general, One Finger Death Punch is a simple and fun way to spend some time. The game has 98% positive reviews out of a total of 9,147, and you can pick it up on Steam for €5. To run it, you'll need a 2 GHz dual-core CPU or better, 1 GB of RAM, although 2 GB is recommended by the game's creators, a GPU with 512 MB of RAM that supports Shader Model 3 and DirectX 10, and 200 MB of free space on your hard disk. Antichamber is the title that got me into weird, minimalistic puzzle games. The first time I saw gameplay footage of it, I was mesmerized. The simple graphics, the weird atmosphere, the brilliant puzzles, all of it. It's not clear what the story behind it is, but there are a few theories out there. One theory is that you're insane and you perceive the world around you as you see it in the game. Another theory is that the game is a parallelism to the real world. At some points during your playthrough, you hear noises such as water flowing or animals, and those could be hints of the real world outside the game's one. Either way, the point is that it looks great, plays great, and will force your brain to work overtime to figure out some of the puzzles. Antichamber has 96% positive reviews out of a total of 7,542, and you can get it on Steam for €18.99. To run it, you'll need a CPU running at 2 GHz or better, and although Steam recommends a dual core, a single core CPU should work. 2 GB of RAM, an Nvidia 8000 series GPU or better, and it has to support Shader Model 3, and 1 GB of hard disk space. S.T.A.L.K.E.R Call of Pripyat is the oldest game on this list, although it doesn't look the part. It was released back in February 2010 and has 95% positive reviews out of a total of 4,999. It takes place in Chernobyl after the nuclear reactor explosion of 1986, and it's a horror game, so you can already tell what you'll be facing while playing. It continues from where S.T.A.L.K.E.R Shadow of Chernobyl left off, so if you want the full story, check that out first. If you do, I'd recommend picking up the S.T.A.L.K.E.R bundle, which includes both of these games as well as Clear Sky, for €23.99. Pripyat alone is €20. Clear Sky is the prequel to Shadow of Chernobyl. Call of Pripyat is open world and all its locations are recreated according to actual pictures of each area. Knowing this makes a playthrough even more interesting. The game is good at scaring the player and the low-key background music helps with that. It's not a linear FPS where you pick up your weapons and run around killing stuff, by the way. You have an inventory, stamina, and it leans more towards a survival game rather than an FPS. It will keep you busy for a good few hours and you'll have played a great game if you actually get to finish it. To run S.T.A.L.K.E.R Call of Pripyat, you need a 2.2 GHz Pentium 4 or Athlon XP processor, 768 MB of RAM, and a GeForce 6900 or Radeon 9600 XT GPU, and 6 GB of free hard disk space.
I think I found the lair. Get over here, ASAP.
A long way to bring bad news. The sailors say there's a curse on us. Black magic.
Dishonored is a first-person action game where you play the role of a dual-wielding super assassin, and by super, I mean with actual supernatural powers. I love how I'm pointing it out as if that's something new to video games. You're a member of the Royal Guard, but not just any of its members, but a very trustworthy bodyguard of the Empress. That of course was until you got framed for her murder. Then, in an instant, you went from trustworthy guard to wanted assassin. Needless to say, you have to clear your name and avenge the Empress's life. You stroll through the game and using your superpowers such as teleportation or the ability to stop time itself, you try to find an answer and get the revenge you seek. Not only are the graphics in this game great, but so is the storyline and everything else. Definitely give it a shot if you get the chance. It has 98% positive reviews out of its 23,026. That is nuts. Now, I know this video is supposed to be for low-end PCs, and it pretty much is, but Dishonored kinda leans on the low mid-range PCs. The minimum system requirements are Windows Vista or newer, that means no Windows XP, a 3 GHz dual-core CPU, 3 GB of RAM, 9 GB available hard disk space, a DirectX 9 compatible GPU with half a gigabyte of RAM, such as the GeForce GTX 460. You can pick up the game on Steam for $9.99, which if there are no discounts is still absolutely worth the cash. Alrighty then, so what's your opinion on this list? Do these games deserve their overwhelmingly positive status on Steam or not? Also, do you guys think that these games were too demanding for a list of low-spec games? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's gonna be it for now, guys. Thank you all for watching. This is the Bearded Gamer. Over and out. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.